Hello, my fellow bookworms, book hoarders, book lovers, and creatives. Wishing you a bright and happy Wednesday. Today is episode 54 of the podcast. And like always, and during an ongoing season, the show is aired on a Wednesday, both for Spotify and for my YouTube channel. If you have the option to listen or to watch us, I leave that in your hands. The choice is yours. But whenever you do that, do click the subscribe button so you do not miss a single thing. All right. All of our past episodes are at the ready for you to listen to and watch chronologically, and the rest is up to you. Now, summer is truly here, and we are so feeling it. It bogs us down, it saps us from whatever remaining energy that we may have, and we're in no mood to do anything. Yep, we all can relate. But as a creative, there will be times when we really need to strap ourselves down and do the one thing that we've been putting off, and that is to create. So, when the mood strikes and you don't feel like doing anything, you don't feel like writing or sketching or drawing or sculpting or whatever creative endeavor you may be in, I wonder, how do you deal with that? And how do you get back on track? Everyone has their own way of doing it, but I want to know how you do it. I'm curious. Okay? Let me know in the comments, and either here on Spotify or on our YouTube channel if you're watching this in video. I hope to chat with you directly next time, but for now, let's move on to the guest who will inspire you to take up your pen, your brush, your chisel, and your imagination above all, and do the thing that you've always wanted. Here's today's episode.
Welcome to Urban Fantasy PH. We are creatives who live in an urban society and give readers wish fulfillment by way of our stories, which is fantasy but reflective of reality. Here, we get to talk to fellow creatives like writers, authors, artists, comic book creators, filmmakers, you name it. We create and share our art here in the Philippines as well as abroad. My name is CJ Edmunds, I'm your host, and here is today's episode.
Hi, everybody. Good morning and happy Wednesday, and welcome to today's episode. Our guest for today is a best-selling Pinay Sci-fi author, comic book creator, and associate creative director. Now, she writes about robots, romance, and revenge. The three R's, I believe. Her titles include Tablay, Makina, Sagitarius, Skies Above, and Our Next 7 Weeks. Now, her works have been featured at various international books and comic festivals, including MIBF, which is the Manila International Book Fair, Frankfurt Book Fair, London Book Fair, which I would love to go to, and SDCC, or the San Diego Comic Con. Now, outside of writing, she leads advertising campaigns for major brands at an award-winning agency, or ad agency, that is. Now, she specializes in marketing, tech, energy, and vehicles. Now, she did say one day that she wants to pilot her own mech, open a cafe, and also maybe a comic book shop, perhaps. Now, I think she will have all these in due time because she puts 110 to 200% in everything that she does. And we are glad and honored that she could make it here today. So please welcome Miss Katrina Olan. Yoo-hoo. Yay!
TJ,
Hi.
we have manifested this for so long.
Yes,
Long
finally. Thank you for accepting the invite and for joining us today. We first met at Peakoff, and that's the Philippine International Comics
Mhm.
Festival in 2024, I believe.
Yeah,
And
2 years ago.
I was immediately drawn to your book, and the potential that it had. I mean, it was obviously sci-fi, and above all, it was Pinoy. And the book that I'm referring to, which is also what we're going to be talking mostly about, is, yes, Tablay. Yay. Now, from the bio in the book, it says that Tablay is actually your second
Mhm.
novel. Am I right?
Yes, so my first ever book that was published, at least that was, really brought out into the world, was Skies Above. It was
Mm-hmm.
a steampunk fantasy novel. Yes, I love steampunk. Anything punk, I'm gonna up, Yeah.
Yeah, which is great because I've always associated Tablay to be, your first, and which is great that you have, that much of a backlist
Mm.
behind you. And I was wondering, is there something about the genre of science fiction that drew you to it automatically?
Ooh, okay. So, like growing up, I was a nerd talaga.
Mm-hmm.
I love science things. Most of my family members work in the arts and sciences. So both of my parents are doctors. So I
Okay.
spent my childhood in the hospital, not as a sick person, but just like watching them work. Like I would accompany my mom and my dad, who works around machines, mga
Mm-hmm.
radiology, alam mo yung ganon,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
X-ray,
yeah.
scan,
The
MRI, ganon.
the
I was,
beeps and the sounds and all
yeah,
that just sort of
yeah,
like you get
yeah.
input like that subconsciously. Yeah.
And then my my lolo, my direct lolo worked in forestry, and my other lolos agricultural
Grandfather and grandmother.
sciences. Yeah,
Uh huh.
they worked in Erie. If you know the International Rice Research Institute in
Oh, okay.
LB, UPLB. So
All right.
they did all of the research and the science on growing rice and teaching other countries. Remember in the 1960s, 70s, we taught other countries the techniques
Yes.
for rice. So they
Exactly.
were
And now
telling,
we buy rice from other people.
I
So
know it's
how
crazy
awesome is
how
that?
the turns have tabled.
Tables
How
have
the
been
turns
turned,
have tabled.
but it
Ayun na
doesn't mean
nga.
that it can't turn back again, right? So
Yes.
hopefully,
In the future, hopefully
yeah,
better leaders manifesting. Ayun.
yeah.
So yeah, I was just really, really surrounded with a lot of them. Pero like myself, like I'm a frustrated engineer. Like gusto ko talaga ng engineering. Pero ang bobo ko talaga sa math.
Mm,
Like I can't like I love the concept of building things,
mm-hmm.
but like the farthest I can go is like the vision. Kaya na yung science behind it. And then that's why exactly I love science fiction, because you just have to, it's like it's like doing it without the commitment of following it through, like I mean it's there.
Or
Like,
better yet, hire someone else to do it for you.
yeah, or
But
someone else to do it for me. But
yeah,
like
yeah.
what's the concept of this? What are like the what ifs that you can
Mm,
tackle? Now, what if gagawa tayo ng floating island made exactly out of like maglevs? Or what if we build techno organic aswangs? Like how would that work? Like how would the muscle integrate with the nanotech or ganon, yung parang
uh,
the impossibilities of life made possible. It's like kind of like a parang mas magical realism than it is fantasy. So
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
actually kasi even science fiction becomes science fact later on. Like
Yes.
a lot of the things that we've dreamed of and aspired of in the past, like lighter than air flight suddenly became airplanes. Cloning was just once a dream. The apparently the Chinese government spends hundreds of millions of dollars investing in science fiction. It's
Yeah.
soft power because it inspires their youth to create all of this amazing tech in China, apparently. So that's why if
Mm.
you go there, parang siyang sci-fi city talaga, which is
Yeah,
crazy.
nga eh.
So yun,
Oh
so
boy. Well, we
amazing.
can always hope for the same here. Ayun na naman. Fingers crossed. Growing up, you said that that's the effect that science fiction, that science had on you. But if you were, let's say, to choose between the kind of reading that you gravitated towards, were you more partial to comic books or books, or they
Mm,
go hand in hand with you?
I would say mix, pero hindi
Hmm.
ako like I'm not like a Marvel DC kid.
Okay,
I
okay.
love I love the Sunday dailies and the you know those comics on like Witch,
Mm,
K-Zone,
mm, mm, mm.
those early 2000 series.
Right.
And of course manga, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm more of an anime manga girl than like a Western comic book person. So I
Okay.
love anime and I love Star Wars. Oh my gosh, Star Wars is the best.
Woohoo!
What do you call that? Surprisingly, I was not into Japanese mecha until I started around 2015, 2016. Niluluto ko yung concept sa brain
Mm.
ko. But I said I don't want to necessarily approach Tablay with a parang Japanese mecha lens. Kasi
Mm-hmm.
what I do is I do a lot of research talaga even before I start writing my books. Like I do months and months of pre-work to kind of like know the system inside out. Sabi ko, I don't in that whole process, I didn't watch any I didn't watch any Japanese anime or manga, just like little bits and pieces. But I studied like a lot of World War I and World War II stories. So mas nagiging grounded and
Right.
utilitarian siya rather than robots in space. So
Yeah,
that's
I
what I
get,
did.
I get. That's right. That's right. Yeah, I do see the amount of research that you make, and when you detail certain scenes, and also when you talk about the tech in the book, which is great. And the good thing about, regardless of what you read in what form, I mean, the good thing about reading is that, it's, apart from it being fun, is that it allows you to travel without having to step out
Mm.
of your own room, right? And if people come up to you and say, "So what's the big deal about reading?" Well, you can tell them just that, well, just after slapping them in the face. but
Yeah.
but when you read, you do get to travel for free. So if we're gonna, let's say, switch from a reader to a writer, we also get to travel. We get to
Mm.
move within the world that we create and how it feels to be there. So any world that starts or that's created starts with an idea. So I was wondering, can you tell us what was the genesis of Tablay and the
Right.
spark that ignited everything?
I see what you did there. So, I would say that nag-start off siya actually with my first book, Skies Above, right?
Mm,
So that was my beginnings as a published author. So that book took 7 years. Actually, my runs are so long. I mean, because I really take time,
uh-huh.
like ayoko talaga na parang in trend. When you just have to hit something when it's hot kasi yan yung trending topic. That's what
Right,
everyone's
right.
looking for. Like, I don't want to make a book unless I have something really good to say. And that's why my run times have always been like my first book, 7 years. From 13 to 20 years old. Tapos nag-start ako ng tablay mga 21 to, was I around 24? No,
Hmm.
2023. So mga 2 years, a year and a half.
Right.
So when I was writing Skies Above, of course, like all starting out authors, we write from what we know. And all that we've known in our lives was mga Disney,
Yeah.
Nickelodeon, anime, all of the books that we read from Western authors growing up. So naturally, what would come out of my writing was like, of course, I love Skies Above kasi yan talaga yung first book ko. It's where I learned the basics of publishing and writing. Pero it was still a very, I guess, Western perspective. So the character's a white boy that, I mean, I love kids, but he's a white boy that travels, like, parang na-inspire ko sa Treasure Planet, like Floating Islands, Steampunk, Sky Pirates. So that was the kind of world that it lived in. But I realized, of course, there were different characters with different, ethnicities, nationalities. Like, I was trying to build a whole world around that. But it was still from a very Western sort of perspective. And then,
Mhm.
pumasok ako sa comics community. Kasi, I remember I graduated. Then I went to the US for a bit. Mga 1 month, 1 month lang, just for vacation. I came back. The day after I came back, I attended my first Comic Con, which was Comic Con, as in
Right.
Comic Con 2017.
Hmm.
And that was the first time that I put out my book talaga. Tapos sabi ko, sobrang namangha ako sa mga local creators. Like, that was the first time talaga na parang I had my own nationalistic awakening, like,
Mm.
parang people can do that pala, like, we don't have to be a Penguin bestseller or New York Times bestseller. Meron palang avenue for people to do like local stories, and these kind of stories are not trying to be like like Harry Potter or the Hunger Games. They're just trying to be themselves, like being Filipino. Tapos sabi ko, oh my gosh, this is so good. I think I entered, that was the time of when sina Ella Arcangel were still around, were still coming
Hmm.
out with, no? Parang,
Hmm.
um, so happy for them. I think they're getting a GMA adaptation. Um, Ngayon, I think Trece was still around back then.
Yeah.
Tagailog. So those people, Melvin, I think Bambi and Olan were there. I guess, our paths just hadn't crossed yet. There's so many, it's so weird now. There's so many people in the community that you realized have been around for such a long time. It's just
True.
that, your paths weren't meant to cross yet, so
Yeah.
parang ang daming bumalik from my season 1 as an author to like season 6 or season 7 now as an author. So it's just amazing. So sabi ko, I want to make something like that too. So I said, what's something that I really like? Science fiction. But like, what's something that's so Filipino, no one can own that yet. And then I thought about our mythology because there's no replications of it. Of course, there's some variants na baka may version ng, manananggal sa Malaysia. Pero it's not something the West or Japan can own. And then I
That's
said
right.
like, what's something that I love, science fiction, anong pwede na nothing something that's not really been explored yet, and then that's probably robot science fiction, but Philippine mythology, and then kind of like and then
Yeah.
fusion
The
and Tablay,
the
you know.
fusion has begun. Yes, yes, yes. The word that you used is one that we don't really hear often, and I was wondering what does it mean, and how did you go about finding the title? I mean, I know the answer, but our listeners and viewers, they may not. So, direct from the creator, what does the word tablay mean?
Yeah.
And were there other words that you had to, I don't know,
Mm.
choose from,
Short
like a roster
list,
of words before? Yeah,
ganon.
yeah, yeah. Before settling on the
Uh,
final title.
so sobrang random to kasi gusto ko, I mean, this is the part of my brain that's like, your title has to be memorable, it has to be brandable, it has to, of course that's me, it's like it has to be, there has to be some element of actually, like, running parallel to that because I learned everything now from my first book, right? And I learned
Hmm.
everything more from my work. So in terms of thinking about the creation of it, I was already side by side thinking about the marketing of it. Paano siya magiging ganon, ganyan. So, sabi ko, dapat one word. Dapat memorable. Dapat something that there should be no duplicates. Even
Hmm.
dapat the cover has to be just like one singular, rememberable image, like a logo. So, I looked through a science dictionary. And then, I was looking
Nice.
through, ano pa pwede? I mean, it was even before the kumbaga parang yung title is like a thesis statement,
Yeah.
like your title is your thesis statement kasi the whole narrative would revolve around that, whatever that is. I don't know, some authors, they write the book before they figure out the title, right? Me, I like to have all of the core concepts or the core mechanics in set before I even start building around and fleshing out the character arc and the world. So I said, oh my gosh, here, this is a good word. Tablay, which is like electric charge. And like tablayan yata is charger. So
Okay.
sabi
Yeah.
ko,
Now we learned something
pantablay.
new.
Pantablay is charger. Pantablay is
Yes.
charger. Deep Filipino, alam mo yun yung parang hiraya. Or
Yeah.
yung mga one words na nagiging small business names din
True, true, true.
ng mga small entrepreneurs natin. No? Yung parang ganon. So, I thought of Tablay, and then I was like, oh, that's a very good title kasi parang it talks about electricity, which is like what the mechs are powered by. What's the source of power in this world?
Hmm.
Baka the spark between two hearts, eme, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
there were some words that kind of came close, like the gitab. The gitab is like current or
Okay.
or fluctuation. Meron
Doesn't roll off the tongue as easily as
I know.
tablay.
See, I was also
Uh,
thinking about the rememberability and the pronunciation. So I was like, okay,
right,
the
right.
like light on the
And it sounds like shablam.
yeah, or it's like sablay, diba? It's like
Sablay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Something like that.
ang mga parang hari ng sablay ganon, or so
Yeah, yeah,
many
yeah.
parallel words. So ayun, that's how I came up with the title, and then I played around with the thematic of it throughout the book.
Right,
Yes.
right. You were saying that you like the core concepts first before doing your world building. But when you think about it, when you do have a title and then you're doing the world building, your world building is affected because of the title that you chose. And if you chose a different title, your world building would probably have shifted somewhat. So
Mm,
that that's a process that worked for you. And you said some others would prefer to write the book first, and
yeah.
then the title will just pop up in But I like that. I like that because I'm like that as well. The title has to be there somewhat, and then that will just dictate the whole flow of the
Yeah.
whole work. Yeah. Now
Feeling ko you're no, are you a planner or a pantser? I feel
I
like you're a planner.
I'm no, I'm somewhere in between. I'm a
Ah,
plant, sir.
Plantser versus zombies, ganon.
Yes. You're
Plantser and zombie.
I know you're more of a plotter. You
Yeah,
want
yeah.
everything there set so that you don't run into dead ends, or if
I
ever you
know.
do run into dead ends, you'll know how to go around them or something.
Yeah, yeah. Like I
Yeah.
plot everything to the T. Like you see my like I'm so structured and organized. Like kahit yung dialogue, like I have to bullet point it talaga. Kasi parang there's sometimes when people are gonna call out like the logical flaw in this. Well, maybe this is me working at it at the graphic novel, but back then it was more of like broad strokes. Basta alam ko yung beginning
Hmm.
and middle, and then you kind of breadcrumb all of that in between. Like you got it.
Right, right. Well, it's all it boils down to choice. Every creative will have that choice of balancing the
Yes.
things during the creative process. I mean, from writing the book cover to whether how you choose your day job first over your passion project. But just in case, for those who didn't know that you are in advertising and segueing into your day job just a little bit, and I'm curious, what is a normal day for you in advertising?
So I'm supposed to be working.
Hi. Okay. Okay.
Joke lang.
Go ahead.
That's okay. I don't think my bosses watch this anyway, but I'm super happy for their support. Pero I moved my 11 a.m. meeting to 1 p.m. later because I had this, but they wouldn't know it, right? But what
Uh-huh.
I'm saying is it's about managing the hours of your day. Like
Hmm.
I guess parang putting a certain discipline to it. Like I think the secret to being a writer, aside from having literary technique, I think the more important thing is like just showing up to do the work. Like some people kasi they have big grand plans. Oh my god, I'm gonna make a 100,000 word trilogy about
Oh,
this
well, no,
epic
no, no. It's not
spanning
gonna.
ganon ganon.
No, no, no.
Tapos dadapa sila after second chapter kasi they got tired, they got
Yeah.
uninspired. So and then I'm sure you're like this too. I mean, you're really you're a hustler like I am. Ano, kasi basta basta may event, we
Oo.
gotta get
Basta
we gotta
meron,
get
so good.
bread,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. Where there's an opening, a vacancy for to showcase your work, we're gonna go there.
Yeah, yeah. And then I mean, of course, the business part comes after the creative part. But like
Hmm.
when you're in the creative part, kasi you gotta really figure out how to balance it with your day job, right? So I'm just lucky that I'm a writer for my real job.
Yeah.
So when it looks like I'm writing my when it looks like I'm writing the content for my job is the same. I just gotta switch tabs and I'm writing my book. And then I
Yeah,
gotta
yeah,
switch
yeah.
tabs back and then I'm writing the next script, or I'm writing the next ad copy,
Yeah,
or
the
I'm
next
writing the next
campaign.
storyboard for commercial, so they wouldn't know the difference. But I'm like just super glad that my company does support. Well, they knew kasi when I entered the ad agency, I was already making books.
Hmm.
So, syempre, yan yung ano, they already understood I had that sort of baggage. Not naman
Hmm.
baggage, hindi siya baggage, but it's like I have this double life.
Yeah.
And then, at one point in my career, parang it was like you gotta choose one or the other. I mean, there's an ultimatum that's like put up against you na, dude, you either gotta go all in on your work or you gotta go all in your book. But I
Hmm.
guess that was at the time kasi na the alam mo yun na people realize that sometimes to be the best at your job, you have to be an outsider of your own industry. You understand?
Hmm.
Like sometimes kasi if all I think about is advertising, like ads, 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 KOLs, KOLs, KPIs, KPIs, what's our oh my gosh, it's like I am going to die. Like I will not
Gotta
have
go.
purpose in life if all I do is like try to hit targets.
Right, right.
Like
Yeah.
what is the ROI of this ad? Like how many? I mean, I was just watching Devil Wears Prada 2. Did you catch that? Did you
Yes, I
catch
did.
Prada
I did.
2?
I did.
I felt so uncomfortable
did
because
you
it was
like
my
it?
life. No,
Did
I
you?
loved it. I loved it, but I felt so uncomfortable because that is my life. You know,
Mm,
like parang I'm always having to chase after engagement. Like we're
right.
always like, so you made this ad. How many likes did it get? How many
Mm,
views did it get? Did it lead to sorry, I'm literally in at an anti-job era just right now. That's why parang I think I'm going through midlife crisis din kasi na parang is this all I'm gonna do for the rest of my life, you know? So parang I'm at that stage where you're kind of like changing priorities. I'm not saying that your job is important kasi it's there talaga to, give you your daily sustenance, no?
yes, it's your
It's
bread
there
and
to
butter.
there to give your bread and butter. I'm just lucky that I'm in a creative job and I do the same things basically na yung parang sa Devil Wears Prada na I have to spew out articles, I have to spew out advertorials and copy, and I have to appease angry clients every single day of my life, and if I don't have something to balance that out, oh, maulol talaga ako kasi
Yeah,
all I'm
exactly.
doing is like thinking about work in and out. So kasi in when you're in an ad agency, syempre it's a client servicing agency. So you'll have to do what the client wants.
Mm-hmm.
Revise the copy, make the logo bigger, change the script again. We don't like this. Can you revisit the storyboard? Try to make the script a bit more catching, and then ang daming technicals, and then AI comes into the picture, which is just insane. So it's like as a creative writer, I get to pick out the best of what I do at my daily job, or at least it informs me in a way na ah, how do I sharpen my copy? How do I refine the story? Like from
Mm-hmm.
a like you hear your own voices in your head being a critic, not naman a critic na you're so bad, this is never gonna, more of like what can be improved here. So I write hot, chuk 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 chuk. I churn out like now. For my other project, I make sure to show up with to finish at least two to three, two to three chapters a week. So
Mm.
mga 5,000 6,000 words din yan kasi I'm running after a deadline. But then you look back at it and then your day job brain goes, I don't like this. Change that. Characterization is off. It doesn't sound like this character. Change that. This paragraph is too long, or the ending is too weak. You gotta, so parang ganon siya, like mechanically I'm an editor to my
Yeah,
own work din. So
right,
parang
right.
yan yung nagiging, I guess, the good part.
Yeah,
Uh,
and whatever skill that you develop through your day job, you get to work it. You get to apply that in your own passion projects, and vice versa. So it complements one another, and that's a good thing. I was wondering, what was the hardest thing to get right in writing Tablay? I mean, I enjoyed the fight scenes that you described in your book. It has a cinematic way of presenting itself. So I was reading, it's like, okay, movie na to.
Yeah,
And you did it.
diba? Kasi I am a script writer for my day job. So
Right, right.
it's like, and storyboards that you write for commercials. I'm not saying that comics are storyboards, but there's a semblance, no?
Yes, there
What is
is, there
the
is.
what is the key frame here? What are they gonna say? What is the next key frame here? What are the characters gonna say? What is the action? What is the dialogue? So I write stuff. Yeah, actually, now that you pointed that out, parang ang daming reviews telling me that I could picture it like a movie or an anime. And I'm like, oh nga no, kasi oh, that's what I do. I
Why
write
not? Diba?
write those,
Why
right?
not? Well, I
Why
mean,
not?
because if you can't see it in your mind, it's gonna be hard to see it on paper. So
Ah,
it really, diba? It really starts there.
do you know
I
what
know.
I did then for the
Mm,
action scenes?
mm,
I have a lot of, like I said, I tried not to go too much into watching anime and reading manga about it. I bought a lot. Pumasok ako sa book sale one day.
yes.
Tried to, this is, see, so I'm really into research talaga. I went through so many of the war books ang
Mm.
dami kong nakita na ano, biographies of biographies of what's that called again? Biographies of soldiers in
Okay.
war,
Mm.
accounts of fights. So what I do is, even for my the book that I'm writing now, I highlight passages. Parang I have my own little notebook where I highlight passages na, oh, that's a beautiful imagery, or that's a beautiful sentence. Sige, I'll get that. I'll put it into my bank, and then I'll use it like when I need it in the scene. So parang
Yeah.
you draw inspiration from other sources na, ang ganda nito. I can somehow tweak it. I can somehow borrow it, 'di ba? Yung parang you get inspired by all of these other
I get it. I get it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good. I mean, wow. I love it that you're very much into research. And I guess, that's part of your world building process, and it worked. All right. It definitely did work. I know we're here to talk about the graphic novel. I just want to run some
yeah.
more good things that I like about the book. And just like you, there were things that I had to highlight in the book. I mean, I'd rather not, but there will be
Kasi
times where,
spoiler siya.
yeah. No,
Okay,
no, no.
okay.
In the sense that, if I'd rather have markers taped on the page of the book rather than highlight
Oh,
mismo
yes.
the book itself. But sometimes the highlight will really work best. There is one that it says, "We must be naive enough to believe that we will win, and stubborn enough to see it through." I
Mm.
mean, for me, the line is powerful on two levels. I mean, within the story, it does speak to conviction in the face of uncertainty, whether they're going to win the battle or not. But outside the story, especially for us creatives, it hits differently. I mean, as a writer, if you're a first time author or creative, you have to start from a place of naivete or delulu that you believe you can
Lulu
finish the.
until Trululu. That's it.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Delulu until Trululu. Okay, mark na natin yan. You have to have that vision, and
Mm.
delusional to think that, oh, I don't know how to finish it, but I know it will be done. Don't ask me when, don't ask me how, but I can see the finished project, in my hand. So I was wondering, the question is, what pushed you to finish the book? I mean, was it someone who inspired you to finish it just by sheer will? Because in a DC world, I do envision you as Jessica Cruz. Hey, Green Lantern. Hey, plugging. Bagong cosplay na ito.
Black hairs.
Yeah, I'm wearing the ring and wearing the cap.
Yes,
So
I'm,
anyway,
I'm flashing my ring here. You don't see.
yeah.
So what put actually rather than what pushed me to finish, I think the better question is what inspired me to start.
Oh, okay.
Kasi I'll tell you why. There's a reason to start and a reason to finish it. I started it because don't worry, you can relate to this. I started writing it in 2016, which was a
Mm-hmm.
very politically charged era in the
Uh-huh.
Philippines. Tapos, I was really moved or really appalled by a lot of the extrajudicial killings. Yung parang, what? This person just says something against you, tapos you're going to demonize them or treat people as monsters. So that was when I was really inspired to be I can't keep quiet about this. I can't stay still and silent about this. Like I have to say something, right? Pero so I guess that's what I'm saying na inspired din ako sa comics community because they were bravely head on tackling societal issues, right?
Yes.
And then so I was like, I want to try. I want to say something, but I don't know how to be brave. But I'll try it with this. Kasi, syempre, that was also a very dangerous time. Kasi, baka ma-red tag ka or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
someone,
yeah,
someone is gonna show up on your doorstep and then kidnap you or something like that,
yeah.
which happened.
Uh-uh. Uh-huh.
Which
Uh-huh.
happened.
Yes, yes,
So,
yes.
so medyo na, you gotta gloss over it. Pero you wanna say something pa rin. And then, who's that? Who's at fault? At the end, we're all right? We all knew that people are gonna be scumbags and douches. And until now, it's still happening until this very minute. Because they're hiding somewhere out
Oh yeah.
there.
And
But what
falling
I'm
on their face and in
exactly
process.
they're trying to their cases. And in courts. But what I'm saying is I wanted to say something, and that's why I thought about the concept of the aswang. So now it makes a lot more sense. Na the people that we demonize and that we think are monsters are actually just human, just as
Mm,
human as us. And the ones and the people that we put in the wrong might not even be in the wrong. It's just in the way that issues are packaged, or
yeah.
it's the optics of it. So, kumbaga, in other words, in a nutshell, Anya's kind of like a DDS who kind of gets DDS, right? Or
Yeah,
whatever. So,
yeah. Uh-huh,
so
uh-huh.
it's basically, or whatever, it doesn't matter what your political alliance is. It's basically saying don't be a slave of your own optics. Like, to really understand the struggle of other people, you got to you have to understand it from a better point of view, or like a more balanced point of view. I think that's why I inserted the character of Tita Clara, kasi she was she was inspired by one of my teachers in college, who's one of my college professors, who I kind of like, all the characters here are really based out of the people of that I know and love.
Mm,
So, Tita Clara was a college professor of mine na siya yung nag-open ng eyes ko to like the imbalance in media and politics, right? Like we learned a lot about how media is framed, because it was communication theory class. How media is framed, how stories are framed, like that everything is slightly biased to a certain
mhm.
point of view, right? And then to understand it talaga, you have to understand both sides of the coin. Like history has always two sides of the coin, or even more sides of the coin. Baka hexagon nga siya,
True.
right? It's really understanding with empathy na we are more human, and we're closer to each other than we actually seem, right? Like,
Mhm.
especially in this world na we're so focused on being divided. Like, I'm this political party, I'm this color, I'm this race, I'm this religion. Parang it's more of like we're we're more human, and we're more, if we only get to know people as people, then it makes the world a lot better place. So
I
that's
love where this is going. Another line that struck me, at the risk of sounding political, the line says, "People admire the skyscrapers while ignoring those below the poverty line." I mean,
mm,
what makes the passage effective is that even though the setting is futuristic and fictional, the emotional reality feels rather familiar. So I was wondering, did it occur to you that when you wrote the line, it will be that resonant for us Filipinos? And how most of our lives are disparate from that goal that we still have in our minds, which is really to have a better quality of life,
mm.
right?
And
Yeah, there was another one. There's another one that says, in the wake of the attack, daming ano, di ba? Daming listahan eh. In the wake of the attack, the country's elite exploited the market, further cementing their wealth on the top. And this is sad, because disaster destroys cities, but rarely does it destroy systems of power
yeah,
or even patterns, of it. So my question is,
love this discussion. Let's go.
yan na!
Actually, akala ko magiging dog show, magiging political pala. But it's great. About it talks about no, we can. This is the beauty of science fiction. I'm not saying that it's not possible with fantasy, but with science fiction, it, diba, like Star Wars, they have so much Andor. My favorite, one of my favorite shows, Andor. What do you
And
call
some
it?
people say Star Wars, it's a kids movie, it's not
Not
political.
political.
Oops,
Yeah, right. The
excuse
train
me, say what again?
generation was literally like blockaded. How is that not a reality?
Diba? Do you want me to cut you with a lightsaber or shoot you in the face with a blaster? I don't know.
So
Oh boy.
science fiction, I think, has the most potential. This is just me being biased to science fiction, by the way, but fantasy can just do it as great, like Game of Thrones, Chef's Kiss, right? But
Yeah.
for science fiction, it has a beautiful way of packaging societal ills in a futuristic setting, right? So parang like even in my other book, Makina, it talks a lot about the street. Makina with Ian.
Yes, there you
You,
go.
yeah, so it talks about a lot of the street culture and working class themes. So ito, like this guy, he came back as a robot because his body was destroyed out in the asteroid belt,
Uh,
because he just needed money to work for his family. So he just took the offer. Hindi niya alam that it didn't come with insurance.
uh-huh.
So 'di ba, that's the story of ang daming Filipinos that would go overseas through special working passes. Yun
Yeah.
pala, they have to sacrifice so much, even their own safety and health, just to earn money for their family back in the Philippines. So parang ganun talaga. So what I'm saying is, um I guess science fiction has that edge to kind of be close to reality because it features buildings, and it's scarily becoming close to reality, especially with AI, with the drones. That's what I was saying about science fiction becomes science fact. Even like teleportation, they're working on that. So kumbaga,
Mm,
there's a certain level of realness to it that jolts you awake, but me aura pa, or there's like a shield or a veil of, the what's that, the suspension of belief,
the
you know
suspension of
so
disbelief,
that
yes.
that that's what's perfect about it.
Right. It ties actually what you just said just sort of like dovetails and ties into the question I was really wanted to ask is that do you feel that speculative fiction or any kind of fiction becomes stronger when it reflects real societal anxieties? And you sort of like answered that already, and which is good. And that's what makes reading something like that resonate when it ties in to real life. What? There are more lines in the book that I love highlighting, but we're here also to talk about the graphic novel. Yes, we have not forgotten about that. So, congrats are in order first for the upcoming release. Yay!
Second
Yeah.
half. Yeah, we're still working
Yay!
on the second half, but yeah,
Yay!
it's really been good. But we're so stressed right now because we're trying to make it to the print deadline kasi dapat pang i-mass produce yan. So best effort. So yeah, but it's been a 6 year ride.
6 year journey. Yeah,
Grabe.
yeah.
We've changed so much as people and
Oh,
artists and creatives for the better.
for the better. That's true. I agree. I was wondering, what are the difference between, let's say, Tablay, the novel, and the graphic novel? And would you need to read the book first before getting into the graphic novel, or vice versa? And I was wondering, what also compelled you to make those creative decisions that you made?
Yeah, yeah. So, Tablay, the graphic novel, it's an adaptation of my book, right? So I partnered with Paul Medalla Apollonia Dross, who designed the beautiful. Ah, Paul is so
Yes.
good. He designed the beautiful mecha for the aswangs, right? And then he does this amazing like manga style art with his own twist, right? So when we were making the book kasi, it was a mixture of different things.
Hmm.
Of course, I wanted to keep my creative vision as the creator of Tablay, but I was also like active about trying to resolve what I could do better in the book. So parang new game plus siya.
Hmm.
So imagine the graphic novel started out like a year after the book was released. So as you know, Tablay became a runaway hit. So oh my gosh, we didn't even talk about like the synopsis of Tablay. So it takes place in Manila.
We will, we will, we will, we will.
Cursing knowledge. Tablay takes place in Manila, 100 years into the future, and the Mech Force are fighting mechanical versions of our mythological
There
creatures.
you are.
Right? So we have like the imagined mechanical tik tik nuno, tik balang. See, so it's really cool because actually I'll make this. You can be the first to break this, but we actually also have tech. So now in the annex, you'll see some
Oh,
mechanics.
oh, oh.
So this is how Bakunawa looks like. You can be the first to break this. I'll give you
Yay!
I'll give you exclusive access.
Yay,
But
yay,
yeah,
yay.
parang ganito siya,
Nice.
no? It's really cool. Paul's really good at industrial and mechanic design. So it's so
Nice.
crazy because we're like the aliens meme with the guy with the crazy hair, and he's just like
Uh,
that. So that was like me and Paul when it's like actually hindi ako masyadong ma mechanic, you
mhm.
understand? But then he's like, he'll take 1 or 2 days to like sit down and design like the engine of the, or sorry, the reactor of the mechs. And I'm like, this is like not really a needed design, but I'm gonna give you what they call that. Gets mo yung parang he puts detail and attention to
Yes.
ano ba yung, what's the reactor, how does the reactor of a mech look like, how does the bakunawa look like, and then he'll ask me what's the functionality of it, like how did you imagine it. So kumbaga parang how wait, I want to ask you, so now it's my interview for you, like how did you how did you imagine bakunawa when you read it? Was it like spherical, para ba siyang warhead na yung
Yeah.
tipong stuff?
Uh, yeah. It does. Ang dating sa akin is, parang warhead siya na, na naka-drop lang. Not like a missile kind of thing,
Yeah.
pointed, na medyo dulled. But your version is obviously the definitive one, and it is different.
Yeah, yeah. But then, of course, everyone has their interpretation of it, which is great. So we don't dictate. So like, ako initially I imagined it was spherical kasi parang gusto ko parang Bakunawa and the Seven Moons. So kind of like the
Mm,
Death Star with like little like
okay.
an array of, well, I don't know. So imaginations evolved, and I think the best part of it is that we had feedback to like piggyback off. Like,
Mm,
so for example, ang daming nagsabi nga, oh, spoiler alert, but it's okay, to whoever watches this, they probably read the book anyway. But to those who did not, Bakunawa is like the weapon of mass destruction in the book. So there are times kasi when the readers, uh, it's kind of like a humbling process. Or is
mm.
your book up on Goodreads too?
Yeah,
Or
it
oh yeah,
is.
yeah.
It
See, so
is. Yeah.
you see, there's a part of you that's like, oh, I'm so grateful that they like it, because we as authors, we always have this bracing breath, no? Yung pag-release ng book, you're just like, you gotta brace for all of the
Yeah.
praise and the
Whatever comments that come your way, just
yeah.
take it.
Yeah, and then I was such at a good streak for the first few reviews, and then bigla bumababa yung ratings. Minsan may 3, minsan may 2. Sometimes they intentionally hate on it for no reason, which is crazy to
Mm,
me. But you know what? There are always people who are, dedicated to misunderstanding you at one point in your author career. So what I'm saying is, rather than focus on the bad stuff, I looked at the general trends. So may mga almost like 150 150 reviews or more
ooh.
cumulatively for Tablay before I started the graphic novel. And I really took the feedback. Of course, for the hater, sige, you go say that. Thank you, thank you. But what are the underlying trends? I kind of dissected the trends. Tapos nakita ko, one, they wish that Nicanor would. Spoiler alert. So just if you guys haven't read the book and don't want to hear spoilers, please scrub a bit,
Mute.
or just scrub a bit, more, maybe a 30 seconds more after this. Pero ayun, sinabi nga nila na, we wished Nicanor didn't turn so easily. No? Parang bigla siya naging good guy at the end. That was constantly filling up the feedback. Yan yung parang, ay, one, masyadong bitin. Or two, we did not see much of the aswang side. Like, it was always angled towards Anya and her personal journey. We wish we could have seen more of the aswangs
Mhm,
involvement
mhm.
in it, or the resistance, or yun nga, Nicanor was such a player na what was his motivation to literally choose to be good after this whole season of being bad.
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
four, the romance is medyo pilit. It was there nga, pero hilaw. Baka pwede mas ma-improve or just take it out entirely. So, those were the four main comments
Mhm, mhm.
that I took into consideration with the graphic novel. So now, in the graphic novel, you're gonna see, actually, I rehauled the entire second act. Diba may 3 phases yun? Phase
Yes.
1, Anya's life hanggang that turning point.
Yeah.
Phase 2, parang the darkness of the soul na, oh my gosh, what am I doing with my life? I'm just running away for everything, but it's time for me to finally face the music. Act 3, the discovery of the truth, and ayun nga, the final battle between everything, and the alliances formed and destroyed, eme. Yung Act 2 na yan, I totally recalled it. And
Hmm.
if I'm allowed to say a slight spoiler, which isn't much of a spoiler, if there's any character, in video games, there's that term buff and
Mm-mm.
debuff. So you know how game developers would kind of tweak around the characters to make them better for the new season. Like mas naging powerful si ganon. Or actually, it could be a narrative thing. Like in the third season, let's say of Game of Thrones, mas powerful ngayon si Daenerys versus the second season or
Yeah.
whatever, yada yada. I did that with the book, the graphic novel. I actually, out of the two characters that changed a lot, and this is gonna be a surprise for everyone. Out of the two characters that changed the most, it's Tita Clara and Ethel. Di ba?
Hmm.
Interesting.
Okay.
You might say, oh my god, who did she change? Did she change Anya or did she change Chino? No, I buffed up the side characters. So now they play a more active role in the second act. So ngayon,
Nice.
mas nakikita mo, there are new locations, there
Mm-hmm.
are new factions, and there are new stakes. Especially, I reworked Nikanor's character act because, like the viewer said, na he suddenly turncoated. Now
Mm-mm.
I reworked his relationship with. I reworked his relation. Oh, you're gonna be so excited for the War Council scenes because it's gonna be
Oh.
so I reworked the War Council scenes that Nicanor is actually facing a lot more altercation and
Mm-hmm.
power struggle with the other generals, which would force him to forcibly move out of this entire debacle or spectacle or whatever. So yun, those are just some of the twists and turns that you're gonna see in the graphic novel.
Sige, sige. We will be on the lookout for that one. But yeah, that was one question I also wanted to ask about the quick shift from from Nicanor. But we can talk off air about that. We got more questions about it. But the next one would be in this creative driven economy, usually see guys doing what they're supposed to be doing, and it's nice to see that women have also come to the forefront and doing their own thing, and you being example. I was wondering, what are the struggles of being a woman leading in a male dominated genre like like mecha, and is there like one specific trope of the genre that you were excited to change and flip it
Yeah.
on its head?
Yeah, so it's great because now there are so many opportunities, especially with globalization and yung internet, right? It's really democratizing the way that people work and people view different tropes about literature. Now, I'm not saying I'm the only Pinay Sci-fi author because there are, especially now, ever since Tablay had that resurgence, no, nakaka-inspire talaga na, and nakakaiyak na I've been approached by other people na, thank you po, Miss Kat, for inspiring me to write my own sci-fi story. Remember Pinoy Sci-fi Con? I think that was with 8 letters and si Cindy
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
other
yeah.
others, sina Alex, Alcacid, and other, like si Dean Alfar, Philippine
I
genre
think
stories
yes.
with Kenneth Yu, like the OGs, the new people all there, and then it's like they were telling me na a lot of them wanted to write their sci-fi stories because they read Tablay. Tapos sobrang like,
Uh,
siyempre iyak lang ako like, oh, parang teary-eyed. I can't show. I gotta be a cold hard bitch, Like I can't show. There's like tears at the corners of my eyes,
you
but
can't you can't you cannot show emotion because
pero natuwa ako, na-inspire ako na, okay, so after that, you kind of saw the resurgence, right? After 2017, then
Mm,
here comes Rexy and Maharlika,
yeah.
who also
Shout
said
out
that
to
I was the best.
Rexy.
I'm so happy for them. We just all gotta clap for each other. That's like one of the biggest things and one of the biggest hindrances is when our own people pull us down, right? Which is crazy. So it's like It's like we just gotta keep clapping for each other. It doesn't matter. We all win here. As long as everyone will have their time, we just gotta keep clapping for each other. So Rexy came, and then John Ray with Maharlika, and then see Cupcake, right?
Mm-hmm.
With Wayang Alimagnum, and Makina came out, and then Deus Ex Manila, and then
Yes.
all of the other best Pinoy sci-fi anthologies with Sina Renato, and then more stuff came out, even sa mga indie, Wattpad, self pub. So it was really good that we're having this resurgence. I just, like I said, like I wish that there were just like more women. Don't that you know like it's okay, write your story. Don't be trapped by the expectations of other people to that. 'Di ba? Kasi honestly, even until now, even if it's 2026, parang I remember there was this journalist, there was this German journalist that came up to me. He was like, "Wow, Miss Katz, I was very wait, why am I having an accent? Very, very interested in this because, of course, it's sci-fi and you're." So sabi ko, okay,
Ayun
come
na.
on, say it, say it.
You're a woman.
Come on. So,
Yeah.
sabi ko in my mind, okay, there it is. Yes. So, syempre, ang dami pang expectations or in expectations that women can write science fiction.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like baka maybe in the perceptions of, this is not me, but in the perceptions of people na na we're still limited to be the ones cooking at home and taking care of the family. And there's this one time, I mean, it's not even about science fiction anymore, it's just about being a woman na. I remember there's this one time I was at a meeting at work, and it was about oil changes, because we had to push an oil change, like. And I remember the target market for that campaign were the curious and uneducated women who use their they literally
What?
started out like that, like the parang, especially those people who don't know how to drive, and then they were like, "Kat, can you even drive?" Sabi ko, "What? Of course I can
Where,
drive."
where did that come from?
I
Ano ba?
know. It's like what? We're the misogynists of this world are still misogynisting. So it's like
Ay.
it's like there were so many times na I did not have a seat at the table, that I had to bring my own chair. Quite literally. I remember there was this one time na there was a signing in MIBF, and then they initially promised that I would be there. And then when I followed up, sabi ko, "Hi, hello po, Miss ganon ganon. Can I clarify my schedule for the signing?"
Mhm.
Tapos sabi nila, "Ay, Kat, sorry, na-bump off ka. Kasi there might not be space in the table for you." Eh, syempre, tarantado ako. I
Mm.
literally brought a collapsible chair.
Oh, why not?
I brought a
Diba?
collapsible, those chairs na pwede mong
Yep, yep.
i-fold, tapos magiging
Ah,
chair siya. Na binuhat ko lang. And I brought it to the stand. And I was like, "Oh," they're like, "Oh, God, you're here." Yeah, and I brought a chair. And I sat down. And then
who says
they
there's
were
no place for a
they were
woman at the table?
yeah,
Huh.
yeah, they were forced to give me. But I'm saying that because I was initially given a slot. Nagulat lang ako na they were not giving me a slot because they had to bump me off because some other big guy was
Mm,
there. And I was like,
okay.
what out of all the signing guests, why did you choose me to be bumped
Mm.
off? Because apparently they had bigger names, and they were probably men that would be infuriated that they got bumped off instead of me for a fully booked signing schedule.
Well,
So
you showed them.
yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. What I'm saying is, ang dami pang like, ay nako, I'll just tell you this off the
Sige.
record. Pero, I guess it's just a natural part of life, or of the author ladder. The higher that you play, right? Like, of course, you're starting out, you're young and hungry, but as the longer that you build your street cred, right? You build your street cred, you work hard. You make sure that you're not stepping on anyone. Like I said, the higher that you go, and like I'm just thankful that I'm in a point now that I don't have to work too hard. You understand that? Like
Mm.
when you're starting off, you gotta be aggressive. Like I'm aggressive. I'm hungry. I'll go to every con. I'll build my name. But now I'm just I'm just thankful that I'm at the point where people come to me sometimes. They have offers. I don't have to sell the blight too hard because people know it, people say it. But as that happens, and as you work your way towards um, Manila International Book Fair, and then eventually regional events, and then
Mm-hmm.
international events, people will look at you with a lens of envy, right? Even if
Yeah.
you're not, kaya mag-evil eye tayo like all of the time. But it's just like you're not doing anything to hurt people. You're just working on yourself. But some people will see your actions as either a threat to them, or be bitter na how come I didn't afford those same opportunities as you are. I mean, when I say that I didn't work naman with any sort of like connections in nepotism. You've seen me. I've worked hard every
Mm.
single
You
opportunity
have.
that I
You
got.
have.
I've marketed, I've sold, I've helped other people, but there will always be people committed to misunderstanding you talaga. And I think it's even more that they think it's possible. I'm not saying, but there's sort of gender politics I'm feeling. And look at that, most of them are men. Right? So it's crazy because you just gotta sometimes look out for yourself, and the responsibility that you have to your readers. Like i think that's I think that's a very important thing. We don't realize it. You as CJ, me as Kat, we don't realize it, but we have so much power over readers. Of course, it's something that's not said out loud, but we have the power to influence their minds and
Mm-hmm.
how they feel and how they act with. That's a power kasi of literature and media. We have the power to reframe how people think. And 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 I remember this is the thing that I attended one of um Sir Ricky Lee's
Workshops.
workshops, mga free
Mm.
online. Not the, di ba he had this writer's workshop where he picks like
Yes,
seven.
yes. He
That's
did.
too much. Parang hindi pa ako star level na ganun. So I just attended his online webinar about his trip to Quiapo. Tapos sinabi niya sa amin na, writers are like rain. We're all like little drops of water that can nourish the earth, and that if we all come together, we become like rivers that turn into seas, that turn into oceans. But the water has power that it can either give life and nourish the world, or it can drown. It can drown and kill people with floods. So it's just a matter, Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. Because I've seen that myself with, my gosh, na there were moments talaga na I'm sure you've experienced this too na I was at some event sa school, and then there was this little girl, mga 9 years old, that came up to me, and she was like, "Oh, hello po. Are you Miss Cat?" And then I was like, "Yeah, that's me. I'm here." I was like, "I just wanted to say thank you po because your books, it helped my sister get through a very dark period of her life, and she just wanted to say thank you." Tapos sabi ko, "Oh my gosh, this is so crazy." Or there's this one time na there was a girl who it went through, they discussed Tablay in their literature class. Nagulat talaga ako kasi mga teenager pa siya, mga 15, 16. She literally dyed her hair pink and purple
Nice. Oh,
to the same
validation
color.
right there. Oh my God.
What do they call that? She dyed her hair pink and purple to the same color of the book because she loved it. So sabi ko, I didn't expect talaga na people would be so moved by it na I will not do that. I will not dye my hair pink or purple. Or nung FCBD, my gosh. So naiyak na naman ako kasi there was this guy, yung simpleng tao lang.
Mhm.
naka-t-shirt, naka-shorts, naka-slippers. Sabi niya, Ma'am Kat, hello po. Ako po si, I think his name was Jap. Ako po si Jap. Taga Isabela Province po ako. Pumunta po ako dito dahil gusto ko po mag-support sa Tablay at gusto kitang i-meet. Gusto ko lang sabihin na thank you talaga sa lahat ng ginagawa mo. I was like, oh my gosh! Kasi
Oh,
have you
wow.
have you googled Isabela Province? That is 12 hours away by bus. And
Yes.
he said he wanted to come here to support and he wanted to get the free comic book. So syempre, I was like, oh my god, please just take the free comic book because I know he wasn't in the top in the first 10 that came, pero I was like, here, just take it kasi you deserve it. And he's like, hindi po ma'am, okay lang po kasi baka sasabihin ng iba na daya po ako. I was like, no, it's okay, please take it. And then I gave him a free print. He gave him a free print na lang kasi he did not want to accept it. But of course, he was there to support the others. But imagine a man, a random guy from Isabela province, 12 hours away, would drive all the way here just to see and support Tablay and the other comics. And it just gives you this parang this awakening to this great amount of responsibility that you have over your readers na they would do these things for you. So it's like
It's
you
it's
just
it's va- it's val it's ultimate validation right there, and nothing sort of like nothing pleases a creator or a creative when you get feedback, like that, affirming and validating feedback
but it's
like
also
that.
crippling, because
It,
it's crippling because you feel this immense sense of responsibility not to
yes.
disappoint them because
Yeah.
they've gone through so much lengths to do that. So I'm just trying to keep my head above the water right now, but just do your best, and
Hmm.
hopefully everyone will keep supporting you. The
Yeah.
community is imperfect. People will always make mistakes. People will always fuck up. There's always some sort of envy involved. There's always some sort of baka chismis, diba, or whatever. But
Hmm.
that is the price of community. The price of, diba, that the price of being in a community is that you're willing to be inconvenienced. You're willing to to be supported. I mean, it's not all bad. It's all sides of the spectrum. But the mere fact that you are in a community, there will always be elitists. There will always be beginners that you should
Hmm.
always support. There will
Yes.
always be there will always be people who will, like I said, be forced to who are committed to misunderstanding you. There are strangers that will support you. There
Right.
are there's always that family member that doesn't believe that what you're doing is weird or incorrect, right?
It's like
So
I don't get what you're doing, but
yeah,
fine,
go
you do
for it.
you. Go,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
Yeah,
yun nga.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's the price
Yeah,
of
you
being
do
in,
you.
in the literary community or any community.
That's right. And I guess, people who hate on the stuff that you do or that we do, it can also probably be a reflection of their own,
Mm.
guilt
Ego.
at having not pursued what they wanted to do in the first
Yeah.
place. And seeing other people do that reminded them like, oh, this is what I didn't get to do back then. It's like, and automatically there's that love and hate
Bitterness.
thing, bitterness
Yeah.
coming in. It's like, why did she do that? Why did she had the time? Why did she even had the time or the wherewithal to do to do that? Diba?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
So
mean,
it's
like,
it's really it's
diba?
really
It's really that. I'm glad that Tabla is going places, and it's been to a lot of book fairs, not just here but abroad. And I was wondering, were there any trends that you spotted that readers are now looking for in sci-fi?
yeah. So I spent a lot of time. So I've done I've I've pitched Tablay
Mm-hmm.
as a title. I've talked about Tablay on different establishments. Like I said, I traveled around the world a lot, but it was also back in the pandemic where I got a lot of these international gigs. So it's very interesting to see how people view the Philippines. Diba? I mean, once
Mm,
you're out of the country, once you're out of the country, because we're living in our own silo, right? We always think that Filipinos are viewed as this and that. There's a certain level. This is how we perceive ourselves. Pero paglabas mo ng country, you realize that the Philippines is seen in different ways.
In a
Of course,
different
there's a
way. Yeah.
stereotypical way na, oh, you're from the Philippines, it's a global South nation, it's all about poverty. We love the beaches there. We love the Filipinas. Alam mo, yung
It's
typical
like
na,
we're more than beaches, you know.
yeah, yeah, we have so many things. So, but there also comes that yung parang that responsibility and that awareness of who you are. Like when other people tell you who you are, it's like it builds your own awareness of who you are. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
people tell you you're Filipino, you're like this is what we expect of you. And then you kind of gauge that against yourself. Na I don't know, these stereotypes about me aren't true or like this, but what they think about literature and science fiction, we are underrated. We are off their radar. So they
yeah.
have no expectations about the genre. They know Philippines, but they don't know anything about Philippine literature. So I've always come to them with like they have a blank slate on it. Yung
Yeah.
parang namamangha sila with the amount of literature that comes from the Philippines. Kasi I've been to so many interviews na they're asking me, what is Filipino sci-fi? What is Filipino sci-fi? What is Filipino literature? And that is over the time, you kind of come up with a more refined answer. And I tell them it's it's high tech low life. So what I'm saying is there is that eccentric or irreverent blend
Mhm.
between futuristic technology and yet that gap between the Filipino society and the technology. So imagine technological bureaucrats and aristocrats living side by side, backyard builders, right? So it shows that polarized society. It's also Filipino science fiction with a Filipino heart. It's science fiction with a Filipino heart. This goes back to our concept of kapwa, right? Our concept of kapwa or the other. The concept of kapwa is saying that even if I do not know you personally, I believe that we are part of a bigger string of things or a larger ecosystem versus the West, which is very individually centered, right? Like
Mhm.
when you're 18 years old, you got to get out of your house. You got to start building your own life, right? You do
Yeah.
not
Kick you out of the house. Yeah,
yeah,
literally.
you don't have the financial support already of your parents, and everything is so skewed towards um, capitalism and individualism, while the Philippines has always been about community and interconnectedness. Even if you're old, someone from your family or your tita is gonna call you and say, "Oh, kamusta kayo, anak? Diyan sa US," or there are no serial killers in the Philippines because the Marites will be all over that in a couple of hours or minutes. Tapos magsuspread na yan sa social media. Gagawa tayo ng memes, ganon. So, wala talagang secret sa Philippines. So, this whole blend of global South nation, this whole struggle of the means to which the Filipinos make use of the technology, right? Na, for example, baka Western science fiction, that's why I also try to explore with Makina. Western science fiction is already about building a next civilization in the stars because the planet is dying. Eme, eme, eme.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
in the Philippines, it would be, I would use these robots to segregate and collect trash, right? In Smoky Mountain. Or I would use this to, it's more utilitarian. Kasi 'di ba, Maslow's triangle of needs, right?
Yeah.
Since we are still a global South nation, we're still a rising economy. We're still at the level na. So this is where I'm saying na all the interconnectedness of our socio, political, economic aspects of being Filipino are tied into science fiction. Like, to what extent is science fiction used in the fabric of Filipinos' daily lives? How do they use the technology? What is the kind of technology? Is there a certain kind of spiritualism, since Filipinos are also very spiritual? Is there spiritualism involved in the technology? Naturalism is our bio is our biodiversity being played into this. That's why the swangs are kind of like, right, biotechnological creatures. Yun,
Mm-hmm,
so
mm-hmm.
all of these things about being a Filipino and Filipino culture and society and attitudes towards family, religion, whatnot, play into that rich tapestry of Filipino science fiction. Is like what I'm trying to advocate and what I'm trying to differentiate from the other parts of the world. Because if you look at, kasi before, gumawa ako ng, because I'm insane, ako ng competitive scan. Like I
Okay.
looked at, I did a market research about about Western science fiction, so Europe, North America, and then I did Japanese science fiction, which is like Mecha, Evangelion, Gundam, other Parasite, other science fiction, and then Filipino things. And then, syempre, as a marketer, you have to understand the difference between the different markets, and then what you can do to push your differentiation as a market and as a product to get that market advantage. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I did. So it's in our pagkakapwa. Actually, there was, before we move on to the, actually, I have so
But
much
you
to
know
say.
what?
We can
But you know
talk.
what? That's sort of like that. I love that you're putting the kapwa thing into the conversation because it does. I feel it does answer the question. What is it appealing for Western readers when they read Filipino sci-fi?
Yeah.
That concept for them is totally new because, as you said, early age 18, kick you out of the house. We their culture is you have to be independent early on in your age, but here it's not. It's like, when you need your folks, when you need your parents, you can always, they're always your fallback, your default fallback. Family and friends in your network is your default fallback. And I guess for people who do not have that aspect ingrained in their culture, it will always be appealing and it will always be something new
Yeah.
for them.
Exactly. And there was something I remember. I attended the sci-fi talk from one of the greats, Kenneth Yu. We're
Hey,
being
hey, Kenneth, shout
shout
out,
out to you. Um,
Siberians.
yeah. So what do you call that? He said now, why? Because there's another thing. Why are Filipinos great at being caregivers and nurses, and yet we struggle with science? Right?
Hmm,
You haven't really heard much of Filipinos being known as, like in the general trend, being known
right.
as the guy who discovered, as an astronaut or a hard science guy. And maybe it's just our nature. We just have to accept that that's our nature as Filipinos, that we are a very feeling, we are a very emotional and empathic people, and that's why we excel at giving love and taking care of people. And that's why maybe science fiction has harder traction in the Philippines, because that's what we're not really resonant to. We
Hmm,
would rather we love stories, right? That's
yeah,
the one that's always big on
it,
prime time
it will
television.
always sell.
Will always sell. Love
Oh,
and sex will always sell in the
yeah.
Philippines. And we're always into family stories. And haven't you noticed me sort of, like, if we just gobbled that up earlier than Korea, we would have a chance. Like if we really developed that earlier, because there was a point in the history na Philippines was possibly a creative hub. I think that they were thinking of putting animation houses in the Philippines then.
Yeah.
Pero because of bidding, they chose to export that to Thailand and Vietnam. And then ayun tuloy, sila pa yung nag-get ng advantage over the Philippine market, and now they're the preferred animators and outhousers than the Philippines, because now they have so many policies in place, and government grants, and partnerships, and funding, right? That kumbaga we didn't pound on our own creative economy when we had the chance, so now we're lagging behind, and now we're
Yeah.
being outsourced. We never make our own titles. We're all just kamay for bigger animation companies in Disney, Marvel, DC, but we had our chance. Maybe we're having our chance now with the resurgence of new local titles. So I'm really excited for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just because you missed the bus once doesn't mean that the bus does not come around again. All right. So we will have our comeuppance, for sure. You know what? We are almost out of time, and we are supposed to be
Yes.
we're supposed to be announcing the winners. But there's one more that I wanna point out. We're halfway done with the month, and then June is coming up, which is Pride Month. And one of the things that I like that you did in the book was the framing of a relationship in the book.
Mm,
I won't say who, but it was done in such a way that I feel it was the right way to be done, not as a point of contention, but as a point
yeah.
of normalization. So I was wondering, do you feel that normalization rather than emphasis would be
Yes.
the future of queer representation in fiction?
Of course, I feel like, because I mean, back then in the day, of course, the LGBT community was really bugbog with all of these cynicisms and
Yeah,
all of these things na parang, if that's why I said this is what was related to what I say, that we're more human and we're closer to each other than we think. If only we strip away all of the differences that we perceive to have with each other. I think that's really the way to go, because rather than to be defined by gender, right? You're just a person,
yeah.
right? That has this. So it's just like, am I allowed to to say the character? Because I mean,
Wag mo
it
na, wag
has
mo na.
no bearing. It has no bearing on the book naman. But
Yeah, it doesn't, but it's very. I liked it. I liked it the way that you did it because I feel that that's how it should be done.
mm,
Moving forward,
yeah,
when you
thank
introduce
you for
when you
that.
when you introduce characters, like that. So ayan, yun lang. Nakihirit lang
Yeah.
because magjo-June na. But sige, it's time to announce the three winners for the Tablay
Okay.
phase zero issue, or issue zero, if you prefer to
Yeah.
call it that
So
one.
we will sign these. Thank you so much for
Yes.
joining. So who will make you'll make the announcement?
Okay,
Of
I have the names right here. So the issue zero will basically introduce you to the world, and of course invite you to get the full graphic novel once it is out. Okay, winner number one, we have Mr. Chris Alcaraz. So Chris,
Congratulations.
congrats. Yes, yes, yes. You get for yourself issue zero. Second winner is Nathan Escudero. Congrats, Nathan. Yay. Another one to add to your TBR. And the last one is Bossing to, Bossing. Pangalan pa lang Bossing eh. The name is Boss Bree Saligay. So Boss
Yeah.
Bree, congrats, congrats. So these are our three winners: Chris Alcaraz, Nathan Escudero, and Boss Bree
Thank you for
Saligay.
joining.
Yes, thank you for joining. For those who would want to get a copy of the graphic novel once it is out, details on the release date, would you have
Yes.
it now?
Okay, so for those, please join us at the Philippine International Comics Festival 2026, July 10 to 12 at Ayala Malls 30th. Yes, daming
Yes,
Ayala Malls
sorry.
kasi. Yes. So
Yeah,
thank you so much, CJ, for having us on, and it was a pleasure talking with you. We could
most
talk all
welcome, most
day.
welcome. Oh yeah,
I
aabot to sa next meeting mo. Sige ka.
know, which is in 30 minutes. I moved
I
this
know,
way.
I know.
Sorry,
Uh,
guys. Yeah,
Uh-oh. For those who want to also follow you
check
on
out the
social
flag.
media and know what's going on with you, where can they follow you?
So you can follow us at Tablay Novel. So the at Tablay
Yep. The
Novel. So we're on
ampersand.
Facebook, Instagram. Yeah, Facebook and Instagram. I'm not too active on Twitter anymore. And also at Katrina F. Olan Stories on Facebook and Instagram. So
There
thank you
you
so,
go.
so, so much.
All right, most welcome. We will be putting that in the show notes so that people just click it
Yeah.
and they will be updated. That's a wrap for today. Thank you so much, Katrina, for joining us on this episode. And the future of Pinoy sci-fi is shining bright as ever, and we have creatives like you to thank for it. Good luck with the launch and the graphic novel for Peak Off 2026. Now, if you are a creative and you would like to be featured on the podcast, just email us at urbanfantasyph@gmail.com. And if you want to get a copy of my own stuff, just go to shopee.ph/spinebooks. Follow the show on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads, and me as well, cjedmunds.com. So till the next episode, indie creatives, unite. We need to clap for one another. Please, let's not pull each other down because, you know, it's a community and community support one another. All right, keep creating, stay safe, stay creative. Namaste and blessed be. Thank you.
That was another episode of Urban Fantasy PH. Join us next time as we feature another creative soul who wants their art to be seen, heard, and shared. If you have your own work to share, just email us at urbanfantasyph@gmail.com. For the next episode, this is independent author, singer-songwriter, radio personality, voice actor, and fellow creative, CJ Edmunds, reminding you to always listen to your heart, create with your mind, and share with your soul. Goodbye, everybody. Namaste. Blessed be.